All right, gonna get another 30-minute game going. Recording 2 or 3 today. The last game went fairly quickly. E4, C6, the caro-kann. Expecting to see D4, D5. Our opponent takes the whole center. We get part of the center. F4, I think, is a move eventually. It's unusual to see it first. It's a strange move order, especially since once we push um, E6, it opens up this really nasty queen to H4 check. So I think it's an idea, but not a strong one in my estimation. We'll get our light squared bishop out. They can come out. I guess they can come out to D3, but that's sort of strange because then they would have to take with their C pawn, really weakening their situation. Yeah, we'll play E6. And now we have, oh my gosh, this is, I guess they have, or queen comes out, they have knight takes. So we could sort of force this trade right now. I guess their knight could come out to G5, and we don't want that. Maybe I'll play H6 to sort of curb the development of that knight. And then we can finish our kingside development with like bishop out to C5 looks really good, preventing castling. Can't castle into check, and then knight to E7, but we'll play H6 first to prevent this knight from coming out to G5. And then honestly, I like, oh my gosh, what is happening? They're opening up so many weaknesses in their position. How very exciting. So I like bishop out to E4 here. If we can trade off this knight, then we have the honestly devastating queen to H4 check. They won't have anywhere to block it, so they'll need to move their king out of the way. And then I imagine the game proceeds pretty quickly from there. Okay. Yeah, this is fine. So we trade. What am I missing here? Because this is just bad for our opponent, right? They have to move their king. Yeah, sorry about your castling rights. Um, no, we can't go crazy here. Because doing like making a million sacrifices and doing stuff like that doesn't help us. Um, so I think developing rationally, bishop out to b4 runs into c3, and then we have to move it back. So I think maybe we get our knight out to f5 first, get our bishop developed, castled. We can always drop our queen back. Well, I guess. Oh, that's dangerous. Well, I guess if we have bishop to e7 and they try to trap our queen, we can take this piece. And that looks really bad for our opponent. So I think we can move forward with this. Get up here. All right, they play c3 anyways, shoring up their queen side. Maybe not the correct side of the board to be focused on. We've got our pieces sort of bearing down on our opponent's position. This is a check and looks really bad. It means we get to pick up, or we get to win in exchange. Ugh, not good for our opponent. Their dark squared bishop is hemmed in. This might be a very quick game. This is also, oh, they move out of the way of that check. Okay. This is still an option, and then they have rook up to h2, I guess. But then I don't think we have anything there. We don't have any like fun options to do. So I think we get developed, castled. Actually, I guess we don't need to get castled. We have these options of like pushing g5. They take, we can push and then get our rook over to g8. That looks really good. That looks really aggressive, bad for our opponent. Yeah, I think we forfeit castling on our king side, but our king is not at all in danger. They have their light squared bishop tucked away, not doing any good for them. Yeah, let's get our rook over to g8 and then start. We push this pawn up to g5. We take maybe rook sacrifice to open up the g file. They move their light squared bishop. I am sort of interested in knight to g3. Let's do that. Yeah, I don't want to trade off this piece. If they want to take our pawn, I guess, then I'm more than happy to make that trade. Yeah, knight to g3. And then maybe we push here. No, that doesn't work, does it? I think we push. Well, this is interesting now. So now, with g5, they have pawn pushes down to f5, ruining our idea of our rook coming out. So I wonder if we play like this instead and sort of scare their light squared bishop off to somewhere else. Looks decent. We could push. Oh, pushing c5 looks really good because that's going to open up this diagonal for a dark squared bishop. Let's leave our king side in place for a moment, and we can go ahead and push c5 because this pawn is stuck in place. That will check. Classic caro-kann idea. We can get our knight out to block that check. Not super worried about that. Although I guess we don't have castling rights anymore. Not on the king side, at least. I should play this a little bit more carefully. Although we do have the very nasty looking. Oh, no, we don't have that because our. Yeah, it's not going to work, is it? So maybe we do push h5. Takes. That doesn't work for us, does it? We push up here. They can come down. That doesn't work. Do like this idea. Oh, maybe that's. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so knight out to e2. Bishop takes on e2. Queen out to e1, and I think that's checkmate. Their king doesn't have anywhere to go, and they can't put any pieces between our queen and their king. So there we go. That's the game. They take, and then we come back with checkmate. What did I miss? Oh, they have their bishop. Okay, not the end of the world. We get to come up here with, pick up their bishop, so we get our piece back. Okay, that was a nice idea. I got a little bit too excited there. Now I think takes. I guess we have, here we go, takes, and that's the game. So now we're threatening checkmate. They need to move their light squared bishop out of the way. I guess that runs into their light squared bishop comes out to b5, and that doesn't look very good for us. So maybe we play a6 first. Oh, actually, here we go. So we come out here. Their light squared bishop comes out to b5, and then our queen goes back to c1, back ring checkmate, because their queen and their bishop are guarding separate squares, so it doesn't work out for them. Cool. Looks good to me. So I think the move here, that's another way to do it. Very cool. So they get their knight out of the way, opening up their rook as a defender of this light squared bishop. Well done. Maybe takes. Looks good. Just clear out this threat on our king. They get their light squared bishop out into the mix. Okay. Now takes comes with check, and that looks nasty. We could get castled here, but that doesn't add another defender. So I think maybe rook to c8 is the move. Because then they have queen comes down to a7. This is a messy game. This is just a lot going on. Yeah, rook to c8. Queen comes down. Pawn takes here. Queen takes on b7. No, that doesn't work, does it? I think rook to c8 first. Is there a way we can add another defender to this knight? We could move our king up to d7, and then they're not threatening. I don't think they can come down to here. Yeah. It's certainly the danger of, like, if we run this exchange, queen comes down to c6. Maybe our king moves up and their queen moves over to d6, and that looks like checkmate because they have this really nice advanced pawn here. So I think rook to c8 first. Or I wonder, I mean, their queen is sort of out of the way, so I wonder if we take here, they take, we take, they take, we move out of the way to d8. Then do they have anything? They need more than just their queen to deliver check. They come over to d6. That doesn't work because our dark square bishop is guarding that. Yeah, I think we can actually permit this trade. They just don't have enough pieces. Oh, no, but we can't take here because our queens are x-raying each other through that piece. So I wonder, queen takes on e5, maybe? Queen takes on e5. Oh, man, a lot of options here. I think probably rook to c8 is the cleanest. They take, we take back. Still have our nice pawn structure. This is an option for our opponent. Oh, they take there. That's probably the better move. We're up a pawn. Do we make this trade, double up their pawns, and we like hope to win with sort of the better pawn structure? I think so. They come back with their queen. We pick up this pawn here. I think pawn take. Oh, so we get this. All right. They push their b pawn. That's back rank checkmate. That would be wonderful. Yeah, and I feel like up a couple of pawns, if we can find a way to engineer a queen trade, we'll be in a really good position. Queen comes over to b3. It's interesting. Honestly, I'm looking at like king up to e7 to connect our rooks, and then get our rook out, and then tuck our king back on f8 or something like that. I don't want to take here right now. Oh, but I guess king up to e7, queen down to b7, and we don't have any way to guard against that. So actually, maybe we do take. And if they come down, we can, yeah, queen back to c7. That looks good. Okay. Sort of encouraging that queen trade. All right, so we're up 3 pawns now. We traded off all of our minor pieces, just queen and 2 rooks on the board. Our rook is sort of trapped back here. Our opponent's rook is super duper trapped, but they do have something like g4. If they would weaken their king side pretty substantially. Maybe I don't know what they're threatening here. I think, yeah, king up to e7 and then rook over to b8, scare away their queen. And they don't have, I guess, yeah, king up to e7. If they come down, then we can offer a queen trade. Very interested in offering queen trades here. Either way, either of these checks, we have, yep, let's offer that queen trade. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't see this one. I guess we have push. Is there any other way to block this? We have pawn up to g5, which loses the h6 pawn. And we have f6. Yeah, f6 fully blocks the check and doesn't allow any further checks. Okay. They weaken their king side by playing g4. Let's see. I think we could push and like put our queen up here. I don't know if that accomplishes anything for us. I like rook over to b8, threatening to take on b2 if they move this rook out of the way. If we come out here, then we have this check available to us. It starts to look nice and dangerous. Or we can move our queen out here first, pinning this pawn in place so they can't push that pawn any further. Otherwise, they lose their queen. And we're threatening this pawn, and we're threatening check on this pawn, or check on that square. So that looks pretty good. Yep. The queen is nice and trapped. Not fully trapped, but it's in a pretty vulnerable position. And I wonder, they double up their rooks, and I wonder what happens if we come over to e4. That's check. They can move to one of 2 squares. I don't think we can threaten them any further. I guess we can come to here. One of those 2 squares. Yeah, that doesn't quite work out. I don't think we have checkmate there. Let's see. Maybe double up our rooks. That's going to be 2 moves anyways, unless we just want to push this c pawn all the way up the board. I like doubling up on the open file a little bit better. Yeah, maybe we play rook to b8 and start to take up some of their pawns. All right. Do we want to play out this check? I think so. I guess we also have this, but that trades our queen for a rook, which I think is a bad trade. So let's come over here. Check. Maintaining this pin on this g4 pawn. We could play check here. I don't think that does anything for us, though, so let's go ahead and b7. Rook on b8, double up our rooks. If they want to make a queen trade, I would be thrilled about that. They don't quite go for it. Let's double up our rooks as planned. Oh, it's interesting. Okay. So maybe, let's see. If we push this pawn, no, that walks into all sorts of nastiness. I guess we could push here, and then if they push, we take, but then our rooks are on a closed file. We could push here, and if they push, we take, and that looks a lot better. Yeah, let's push our... Well, no, actually, pushing this c5 pawn runs into... I guess they still have queen to c5 check. Maybe we drop our queen back one square. Yeah, to guard against that. And keep our king safe in as much as that is possible. And now I think we push, come down, we take. Rook over looks decent. Yeah, that's a good move. We could play queen over to c3, which also guards this c5 square. That looks good, and we're threatening their sort of backwards pawn. If they want to push... oh, that's interesting. They have their rooks doubled up on the e-file. If we push here, we add another defender, and we add our queen as a defender to that square. So let's do that. Sort of moving pretty quickly here. I am aware of time pressure. I don't want to get caught unawares, or I don't want to get caught with like too much time down. We're up so many pawns. If we can simply engineer a queen trade, and actually I think I see an option, queen over to d4, pinning their queen to their king. Oh, we wouldn't be able to take back, though. Glad we didn't go for that, because then takes, and then this e5 pawn is pinned due to the rooks. So I wonder what happens if we take here. No, I think we maybe move our king up to d6 first to permit that queen trade. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, here, I think we take, they take. And then if they take again, we can take here and keep this e5 pawn reinforced. But first, do we want to take this pawn? If we take that pawn, then they have queen takes here, and that looks really bad for us. So maybe we force this queen trade first. So here, here, here. rook comes down. Here, rook comes down over here, and then they have to trade, I think. Or if they come back here, we get their rook. Yeah, that looks decent. Let's trade these queens off the board. And I think that should be advantageous for us with as many pawns as we have. They get their rook in the way. I think that's a good move. Do we want to take here? I guess we could get a rook over here to the H file. Oh, we also have this queen to G4 check, maybe picking up another pawn. Now that they no longer have queen to C5 available to them. That looks good, and we deal with this pawn that's been sort of nasty to us. Let's do that. Probably moving back to... Oh, they block with their rook. Okay. We could... This isn't a pin. This is a better position for us, I think. No, they get their other rook involved. I wonder what happens if we come down like this. I wonder takes. They make some innocent pawn move. Check here. No, I don't think that works. It's a poor sacrifice. It's a tough endgame. Maybe check. Rook down. No, and then we can't take this. Oh, this is they've got a really strong defensive position here. This is super interesting. Maybe a rook over here to F8. Or, I guess, yeah, one rook on F7 and one rook on G8, sort of to protect these files. That looks like the best spot for these rooks for the time being. Because this isn't going anywhere. It's a nice pawn structure that they have. And then, yeah, rook over to G8. Opponent has a strong defensive position, but needs to make some decisions about offense that I think are going to be challenging. Pushes here looks good. In which case, I think we would, gosh, I don't know, move back to E7. And we can't take here because their queen takes a rook, but if they take, then that's really good for us. They take, we take back with our rook, and if they want to take this pawn, we take their queen. But I think probably pawn push to G6 is the best move for our opponent here. Gaining a pretty valuable tempo. Although I guess that would allow us, yeah, we could play F8 and then come over here to H8, I guess. I don't know if that does anything for us. I think probably E7 is a little bit better. Now what are they going to do? Okay, they come over, probably going to threaten our H7 pawn. We can come here. I think they probably come back, so that doesn't do anything for us. Push C5 maybe. takes, and then we can push. Gosh, I don't know. Yeah, let's push c5. Takes, and then we can push our d pawn to d4. Yeah. Up. Threatening their rook. Still up 3 pawns. So I think if we can trade off the last couple of pawns, we'll be in a pretty good position. Now we have this b file open if we want to throw down a check. That looks really good, actually. That's how we can force. Oh man, they found it. Okay. I think maybe, yeah, d4, forcing their rook out of the way. We have queen to d5 check. I don't think that's quite forcing. We could push our queen up here. No, this rook's defended by their other rook. Let's throw in a check. Jeez. Okay. Here we go. Rook's doubled up on the b file. And then push up. They take. Retake. They can't take actually. So yeah, double up on the b file. There we go. They need to add another defender, so maybe queen out to. Geez, neither of those look very good. Queen out to a2 loses the queen outright. Queen out to c2 maybe does the trick. But then I think we have rook over to c7 guarded by our king. To say our opponent is defending very well, not allowing us to force any trades. But I think now that we've cleared a couple more pawns off the board, we have some trading opportunities. So probably, oh, queen comes out to g3. Oh, that's interesting. But I don't think that's going to work because our that rook is pinned to their king. So I think we can move forward with our plan here and trade off at least one rook. We take, and then this rook is pinned. Perhaps an oversight from our opponent, but that'll allow us to trade off another rook. And that will be certainly to our advantage. So we take here, they take back with their queen. Queen moves to g4. I don't think they're threatening anything here. I think we just trade off all these pieces. They can't take with their king. They have to take back with their queen. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a moment. In games can be dicey and challenging. They have a very clear path to promotion here. Well, actually, how are they going to get back there? If we push up here, they don't have a way to get around here, so they'll need to come around sort of the right-hand side of the board. So I think if we push here, yeah, let's do that. I think the move is probably, well, they can't, they need to come down. Okay. Yeah, and we'll just push all of our pawns up the board. Blocking that idea. And then with our pawn majority, I think we win this game. All right. This is a mechanism that I need to study because I think it can be lost without too much difficulty. It's very possible that I make a terrible mistake here. and either draw the game or lose my pawn advantage. So their king can only move in these directions right now. Here we go. And I think, yeah, that's the game. Okay, so they come around here. I just need to promote one pawn. There we go. Our opponent resigns. Yeah, cool. Very well fought by our opponent. Let's take a look at the review. I don't have unlimited review. I thought the game was going to go a lot faster than it did, given how the opening went. But they just such strong defensive ideas. Let's turn on the analysis. Let's see. I guess F4 is an idea. D5. We get sort of an advance. F5. Yeah, this is pretty normal. H3, H6. Closing up the center. Normal caro-kann ideas. Allowing us to trade here, and then queen comes out to h4 check, and they lose castling rights. So this is really interesting. The engine is showing still an advantage for white. I think maybe seeing that we simply do not have an attack that we can press here. Push c3, I think, yeah, allowing us to develop our pieces. It's not quite the right idea. This rook to g8 move was no good. I guess correct here is pushing c5. c5 sort of helps us retain our advantage. G8, I did not see bishop coming out to g4 to force our knight out of the way, allowing them to push this f4 pawn. We come out here, finally get around to pushing c5, and this is showing an advantage for black. Knight to e2 check is the move. They take, we come out here, number of forced moves here. King takes e3 check. We take this pawn. And then my thought was if we get, yeah, bishop out to b5, then we have queen to c1 check. And then it's a back rank. So queen comes out, bishop comes out to block these, and we snap up those pieces and win the game. Of course, that didn't happen. Our opponent displaying very strong defensive acumen, gets their knight out, or gets their bishop out sort of in the correct order. Still retaining some advantage here. Yeah. Looking fine. Offering queen trades left and right. We defend very well. And I think just with our pawn majority and sort of all these heavy pieces out here, yeah, I don't see any way that our opponent could have defended against this better than they did. I'm just going to rip through the analysis real quick. We've got another like 20 or 30 moves and just see if there's anywhere where like we really lost our advantage. But all in all, I think we handled that about as well as it could be handled. Get doubled up. Yeah. This is, I think, sort of the crushing blunder. Not getting their... Well, I guess the top engine moves king to g3. So breaking this pin on their knight looks really good. And then they could sort of trade the rooks. Just trade the rooks and keep the queens on the board. Rook to d2. To d2. Oh, that's interesting. Allowing one fewer trade. Yeah, so those are strong ideas, but they didn't quite land on it. And now we're showing like mate in 18, mate in 17. Trade up pieces. I guess I had or if they didn't take back, I had mate in 4. Of course they took back. And then we push our pieces up the board, and checkmate follows pretty quickly. Our opponent saw the writing on the wall. Yeah, their king moves, we promote to queen, and then deliver checkmate pretty quickly after that. Well fought by our opponent. I thought that was fabulous defense, especially with sort of an unfavorable opening, losing castling rights and having a pretty exposed king. So I very much enjoyed that game. Looking forward to the next one. All right, have a good one, everyone.